So as usual, we've got about the first third of the season to catch up on. While it hasn't been going as bad as we feared, it definitely has been a hell of a lot tougher than we've become accustomed to lately. You know, after 4 back-to-back title wins. I suppose it's hard to match that, but anyway, let's get into it. So we're actually starting this episode off with a brand new player joining the team. We've got a Johnny Birchall here, who is a winger, which is a position that we're not super desperate for. But when I stumbled across his profile, I couldn't really say no. He's got pretty good speed, 11 crossing, 14 dribbling, 11 finishing, 12 first touch, 13 passing, 12 work rate, good decision, good flair, pretty good like leadership off the ball, composure, like everything that I'm looking for. And I haven't scouted him, and I'm really hoping I don't regret this decision. But he's just been released by Villa. Well, I say just been released. At the end of the season, he was released by Villa. So he's been living locally anyway. I suppose that probably kind of matters. I initially didn't look at him because he was Bermudan, but he has got English nationality as well. So I'm not going to need a work permit for him. If I compare him to someone like, who've we got, like Agbenone is our newest winger, let's say. And they're relatively similar. Agbenone is more physical and faster. But apart from that, Birchall basically beats him in every department and will be coming in on less money than him. But I could definitely see the two of these basically running the wings for us. If I compare the attributes, you can see, I mean, Agbenone does have him beaten on a few things, but it's not very much at all. And in most stats, Birchall is very comfortably better than him. We've got him coming in on £150 a week. It's only a 1-year contract, but potentially 2 more. I'm going to wait to see how he settles into the team, but I'm almost definitely going to be extending his contract for at least 1 year. And then if we get promoted, we've got him for another season after that as well. So let's do that. Got a few more bonuses than we'd like, but I had to try and get him down for £210 a week because the board literally wouldn't let us do it. So I had to throw a few more bonuses in. And quite frankly, if players are playing well, I don't mind playing them more, but it's just, you don't want to sign someone like £200 a week and they just don't show up for you at all. It'll be another Will Evans situation from last season. We have also got an offering for one more player, Callum Archer, a midfielder who looks very, very good indeed. He has been scouted, and as you can see, is incredible compared to our team. Playing him as a deep line playmaker, so it'd probably be him and Morehouse paired in the middle. Brilliant first touch, technique, flair, teamwork, good balance. He's got most things that you would want. 10 passing, 10 vision. Neither of them are exceptional, but they're both, double figures in both of those is incredible for us. And for the stats that matter, he's pretty good at everything, apart from his off the ball and positioning are brilliant. But I believe if he does accept, he's going to be coming on less. Yeah, it's £110 a week. And I feel like for that sort of money, I just can't turn him down. But out of our incredibly strong midfield, Ratchford and Helliwell are the two that are sort of on the cusp. But I mean, I do prefer playing Ratchford to Helliwell, but Ratchford has also not been playing particularly fantastic, well, this season or at all. I don't think he was great last season overall, no. 4 assists in 25 games isn't a stellar record. He's never thrown up massive numbers for us, but he's normally done comfortably better than that. And I do feel like we're starting to get to the point where he's just being outclassed at this point. He's been with us since the Midland Football League Premier Division. We've had 3 promotions since he joined. So he's definitely starting to be a bit out of his depth, let's say. If we do compare Callum Archer, I mean, that's not really a comparison, is it? Let's be honest. Although we have had quite a bit of unhappiness coming out of Ratchford lately. Yeah, he's complaining. He's unhappy about the club's finances. I don't know what that's really supposed to do because I keep telling him I'm doing everything I can and he still keeps kicking off. Yeah, Johnny Birch was just joined, 4.5-star player, absolutely incredible. Comparing him to our wingers. Look at him. Look at that star rating. We have maybe just got ourselves a star player. He's a good Vanarama National League player. So at that rate, we could definitely keep him here next season. I'm tempted to just click the button and trigger the extension straight away, but I'm not going to do that. 21 years old with 35 caps and 11 goals. So I am probably going to have to be paying out his international cap bonus quite a bit, which would be an extra £75 per match, which isn't fantastic. But at the same time, that's only going to be relevant for probably 6 or 7 weeks out of the season. His wage would go up to 225. It's still averaged down to like 160 at most, I would have thought. I'm not doing the math now, but that makes sense to me. But yeah, he looks like he's going to be a very good addition to the squad. And something that's somehow even better than signing a new star player, we've managed to pass a club vision objective, and it's to repair the club's financial damage. I thought this would just be, we're making good progress. Obviously, we're still going to have to keep on top of it throughout the season. We don't want to end up in an even worse position than where we started. But I think maybe things are starting to look up. And holy crap, I cannot believe it. Callum Archer is also joining us. He's got even more bonuses, including a massive 1.5 thousand loyalty bonus, but I was just throwing money at him to get him to join. He's on £110 a week for the first 30 games of his career, and is then going to be going up to 130. He hasn't got any wage rise other than that, though, and still will make him one of the lowest paid first teamers in the team, even with that wage rise. So, Callum Archer, welcome to the team. If I compare him to Morehouse, who is pretty much our star player, you can definitely see that there is some reasonable comparison there, and you might even say that Callum Archer is a better player. Yeah, there we go. Happy to sign such a talented and important player. I mean, he is actually only 4 stars now he's joined, but still, I'm still definitely going to be taking that. Just compare him. Yeah, him and Morehouse are pretty similar. I was surprised that there was so much difference in the star rating when I was comparing them, but, I thought I'd go with it. Turns out I should trust my gut a little bit more. Good Vanarama National League player, potential to be even League 2 standard, so we could have him with us for a good few seasons. We have also got 2 contract extension on him as well, and he could very much run our midfield for the next few seasons. And before we get into the recap before today's match, I've just been editing the previous episode in the series and realised that I didn't even mention 2 of the players that we've signed. I have got no idea at all what happened there, but we're just going to quickly go over them now. We've got Toby Adeyemo, a striker that has joined us from Dartford, but was released by Dartford, but still. He's had a pretty good start at the club, to be honest, and I definitely see him as just probably an upgrade on Lusaqueno, really, if I just compare the two. He's basically the exact same type of player as Lusaqueno. He is just comfortably better pretty much across the board. He has sort of filled Lusaqueno's spot at the club and has settled in incredibly well, to be honest. We're going to go over that in a minute. And then we did actually bring in another striker / midfielder in Tommy Blackwell. So he's down as an attacking midfielder, and if I switch up my formation, I'd probably play him there. Yeah, he's pretty good. 13 dribbling, 10 finishing, 12 first touch, good passing, good decision making, good off the ball. If I compare him to Lusaqueno, he is, again, pretty much comfortably better across the board. Lusaqueno's got him slightly beaten in aerial ability, but that's about it. Basically, with the fact that we're not going to be playing Gaksha up front, I decided that I wanted at least one more striker, and then we had 2 become available that were better than Lusaqueno. So although I am keeping Lusaqueno around this season as more of a backup option, there is every chance this will be his last season at the club, which is a little bit disappointing because he's obviously served us incredibly well over the years. But if we go on to his profile, as you can see, he hasn't really been performing in the games he's played this season. He's had 4 appearances, hasn't scored yet, hasn't set up a goal yet, average of 6.28 rating. I feel like I've definitely found the limit of his abilities, let's say. But now we've finally got caught up on all the players that have joined the club, let's get into the recap. So yeah, we're going to do this season's recap the same way we did last season's and just blitz through all the league games and then just cover the FA Cup after that. Obviously, we ended last episode with the first game of the season against Radcliffe. We weren't very good. We had a couple of opportunities to score, but generally speaking, I wasn't thrilled with our performance. And I was kind of worried that this would be how our whole season went and that, if we can't even beat Radcliffe, we're going to end up really struggling this season. But then the next game against Chorley, I mean, we did lose 2-1, but it was a much better performance from us. We had more chances than they did, not quite as much XG, but generally speaking, it was a very good game. With 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, it all started off with a long ball over from Taylor. Roberts managed to pick it up inside the box, got it in for Waters to head past Tommy Jackson in net. But then 30 seconds later, Yeboah gets the ball out to Miller, and just to run down the wing, slots it back into Yeboah to poke it past the keeper at the near post. Before our dreams were crushed of our first points in the league, when Roberts gets the ball to the back post and Dubry managed to head it past Jackson. I wasn't thrilled with the result, obviously, but we were trading highlights in the second half pretty much 50-50. But it did give me a bit of hope for the future, and that hope really carried us into the next game against Scunthorpe United, one of the best teams in the league, and new signing at the time, making his debut, Leo Hamblin, steps up and scores a penalty for us. We're going to watch it even though it's just a penalty. He puts it bottom left, doesn't it? Yep. Beautiful finish, good composure from the new man. And then Blythe Spartans came to town in the following match. We were very much seeking vengeance for being knocked out the cup all those years ago. And, well, we got it, quite frankly. It was a pretty dominant performance. They did not know what hit them. It all started off with one of the classic Football Manager goals, a long ball over from the goalkeeper. Yeboah picks it up, does a few keepy-ups for some reason before slotting it past their keeper. Before late in the second half, Backwell gets the ball, manages to cut it back inside to Agbenone, who rockets it into the top corner, unstoppable. Beautiful finish to cap off a beautiful performance. The only downside you will notice is Yeboah did get injured in this game, so was not available for the next few games, and it I mean, it was noticeable in some, but it definitely could have been a lot worse. Against South Shields, we played Tommy Backwell up front. First game leading the line for us after joining, and I'm going to be honest, it didn't really go well. We didn't create much the entire game, but they scored a beautiful free kick. Not a whole lot could be done about that, but that was a deciding moment in the game. Then we came up against Banbury United. I think this game there was some really good goals in it. We decided after Backwell didn't work leading the line, we played Lusaqueno up front, and while his rating was better and the result was better, it wasn't really justified as a great decision, let's say. But this one, in the 32nd minute, Ratchford gets a long ball over to Miller, who just powers into the box and rockets it into the bottom corner. Before then, 5 minutes later, Ratchford starts to move off again, getting to Wadham, over to Morehouse, who just sort of toe pokes it into the other bottom corner. Before on the stroke of half-time, well, just before, a long ball comes in, gets headed away. Wadham gets to Hamblin, who absolute peach of a goal from the edge of the area. But then it all finished off with a beautiful goal for Banbury, actually. McLean, with a first-time volley from outside the area, hits the roof of the net. Tommy Jackson didn't really stand a chance. I can't be too mad at him for that. But yeah, overall, we were very dominant. So after that, Alfreton Town came to DanSkorne Park. I keep doing that this season already. It's going to take a while to get used to that. This was Backwell's first good game for the club, let's say. He was pretty integral in both goals, I believe. I think he scored an assist. Yes, he did. Started off first minute, long ball over, he picks up the ball, and great vision to pick out Agbenone arriving into the penalty area, who just popped it past the keeper with very little effort. Brilliant start. And then in the last minute, bookended this game very much. Miller running down the wing, gets a pass in, and Blackwell gets on the end of it. I keep calling him Blackwell as well instead of Backwell. So get used to being annoyed about that for the rest of the season. The following game up against Southport, 0-0 draw, not a whole lot to say about it. Backwell returned to form with a 5.8 rating, and it was very much just a tale of two good defences. Both sets of defenders end up with green ratings, while both strikers end up with a 5.8. So not good all round, let's just say. But we didn't let that hurt us too much. Hereford were apparently not quite as good defenders as Southport were. We managed to beat them 2-1. This one started off with a Kershaw free kick falling to Stevens, who just pops it past Jackson. Quite frustrating to concede that a minute before half-time, but we definitely were able to motivate them with the team talk, and a crossing from Morehouse found Adiemo's head in the 52nd minute, before a Snodger cross found Agbenone again, and he headed it past the keeper to secure us to 3 points. We were definitely the better side in this game. It was a little bit frustrating to go behind when we did, but, it's not a big deal now, especially as we managed to win, obviously. And then our first just absolutely fantastic performance of the season, let's say. Grantham Town came to DanSkorne Park, and Declan Miller put on an absolute masterclass. 2 goals, 2 assists from the right winger, a perfect 10 rating. Let's just watch the genius in action. We started off in the 14th minute. A little bit of not much happening throughout the box before Hamblin puts the ball in. I don't know how that ball popped up, but Miller manages to header it past the keeper. It looks a little bit weird. Before Agbenone running down the wing, manages to put a ball into the back post, and Miller headers it back in. Then Miller running down the wing once again, shows fantastic vision to see Agbenone arriving, and he just manages to get a toe to it and poke it past the goalkeeper. And then in the 82nd minute, a long Ratchford ball, is it over as wide? Yes, it is. Manages to square it to Adiemo in the middle to comfortably finish in the far side. Absolutely brilliant performance from pretty much everyone, but especially Miller. But we were so dominant in this game, it was a bit of a joke. But unfortunately, that was actually our last league win. We've been on a bit of a league slump in the last 4 games. I mean, the first game was against Telford United, who are one of the best teams in the league. So I wasn't too disappointed about this. I went over the moon in the first 5 minutes when we did take the lead. This was Birchall's league debut. He had played once in the cup at this point, I believe. But he latched onto the ball on the left wing. Managed to get the ball into Adiemo, who just comfortably chips it past the keeper, sort of. It was a strange finish. But the good times didn't last too long, and in the 35th minute, a long ball over from Thompson gets the scales. A very unlucky deflection off Tenordre loops over Tommy Jackson, and Moffat finishes it before a Thomas free kick is curled into the top corner, right on the stroke of half-time. I think that was in the 2nd minute stoppage time, before Moffat beats the offside trap and just comfortably beats Tommy Jackson. We did get one back late on when the ball fell to Morehouse, and managed to put Adiemo through. And thanks to a bit of butterfingers from the goalkeeper, let's say. We couldn't get a third to try and sneak the point away. But just to be that competitive against one of the best teams in the division, I'm happy with, quite frankly. Long gone are the seasons where we're going to be 20 points clear when we come back for our second episode after like a third or so of the season. This is going to be a lot tougher, and I'm very happy with how we've been performing in general. So after the Telford game, we drew 2 in a row, back-to-back 1-1 scorelines. Both of them, I think in both of them we took the lead. In this one we definitely did, up against Brackley. Started off with a nice pass from Yeboah to Agbenone, who just ran, took it on his own, powered it into the top corner. Pretty much unstoppable, and a great solo goal before, a cross to the back post gets headed in. Not a whole lot Tommy Jackson could do. He tried to get across. And I think a similar thing happened in this second game against Nuneaton. Yes, this was a very frustrating match, actually. We were 1-0 up. They then had a man sent off in the 17th minute, and they still managed to get a draw from it. We just did not show up at all after the initial goal. Callum Archer actually got an assist here. I should play through Waldo, but this is pretty much all Waldo. I mean, look at that finish from outside the box. To beat the keeper at the near post from that distance is incredible. But then early in the second half, they scored that free kick. Oh, this one was annoying. And then we finished off our little league recap at the very least with a 2-1 loss to Guiseley. This one was also quite frustrating. I mean, I felt like we never really got going in this match. Even our goal was a bit of bad luck from their side. So just before half-time, they got a quick-fire double, the first of which was a long ball to the back post, gets headed off the crossbar and then followed up by Iber. Before 2 minutes later, a corner doesn't really get dealt with. I think it ends up outside the box, yep, and he just rockets it into the top corner. Not even rockets, that almost seemed like a scoop from the action, but still. But then as Birchall collected the ball here, terrible pass to Zaquano. This defender gets a little touch on it and chips it over the keeper. Unfortunate for Jones' defence there, but it didn't really matter to the scoreline. So that's how we've been doing in the league. And to be honest, we're not doing badly. We are currently bottom of the playoffs, 21 points from 14 games. This obviously isn't a position that we're used to being in after maybe the first or second game of the season. But I am incredibly happy with where we are. I was thinking we were going to come back. If we come back top half, which would be 12th or up, I would be thrilled. And we're in 7th and are very much in contention for a playoff spot. So that is very exciting indeed. Because actually Kings Lynn have got a player top of the average rating, Damon Park. We play at Damson Park. Is this going to get confusing when we play them? Anyway, let's get on to the cup recap. So we entered the cup at the second qualifying round. So we had second, third and fourth to go through to try and get in to the first round. A little bit later than we did last season, and we came up against some relatively low teams, let's say. First up was London Colney. I do not know who these guys are, but they weren't very good. We took an early lead after a Bates free kick goes to Hamblin at the back post and he headers it past the keeper. 5 minutes 28 seconds that was. For the 25th minute, a long blow from Helliwell. Waldo manages to get it back off their defender and Adiemo slots it into the bottom corner before Morehouse here gets the ball over to Declan Miller, who just decides to nab one for himself, puts it in the bottom corner. No problem at all, a very comfortable victory. The third qualifying round was up against Chatham. This was, again, a very comfortable victory. This was actually Ajani Birchall's debut for the club, I believe, and he did score in the 91st minute. But before we get to that, a classic Tommy Jackson assist. Long ball over, Yeboah picks it up. We don't score many of these, but we've managed to get 2 in the first half of this season before a Hamblin penalty and Birchall's goal, where he just basically carried on running and no one caught him. Managed to smash it into the far side. A very comfortable victory, and we were through to the fourth round. In the fourth round, we came up against Macclesfield and we drew 1-1. Now, Macclesfield are obviously sort of sleeping giants because it's one of the clubs that, very much like Bury, they went bust a few years ago and have had to sort of restart themselves in a much lower division. So they're a club that are I think they're in the Northern Premier. They're currently in the relegation zone, but they have got a 4,300 capacity stadium and do fill it, well, maybe not fill it relatively often, but at least get much, much bigger attendances than we do. 3,600 fans at this game, and I believe we sent 4, I want to say. I'm going to double check that in a minute. Let's just quickly watch the goals. Started off incredibly well. After a long goal kick gets returned by Wadham, and Agbeno's just sort of there, and he manages to roll it into the net. I don't know what really happened there. That was such a strange goal to see. But then it wasn't long before they managed to get the equaliser. Long ball out to Philpott. He gets the ball into the middle and Greaves headers it in. And I know we didn't win, but obviously after the first game gets played, the draw gets made for the next round. So let's cut back to a clip of that happening. So despite that draw with Macclesfield, we are obviously still being entered into the first round of the FA Cup draw today. We're going to see who this is. We've still got to play Macclesfield again, but it would be nice for us to get, some good motivation in our sights. I'm not going to draw all teams. Obviously, there is 88 teams going into the draw. And if we get through, we're going to be up against Walsall. That's actually quite a local team. So Walsall are 11th in Sky Bet League 2. They're not having a bad season so far. 5 wins, a draw and 4 losses. They've had a few up and down finishes since we started this save. They haven't moved up or down a division. Is that Phil Jones? As their manager is in ex-Man United, Phil Jones? Yes, it is. What the hell? Spent his last few years at Olympiacos and then moved into management and went straight into managing Walsall. That is a strange move. But luckily in the replay, we managed to get a victory. It was a very surprising victory. Neither team played particularly well. You see Yeboah with a massive 5.7 up front for us. We've had a lot of just very bad performances from individual players this season. They had the ball, but they managed to give it away to Wadham. And Agbenone just rockets it in from outside the box. And that was the only goal of the game. We did sort of steal this one from them, but it did put us through for the second season in a row into the FA Cup first round. So yes, the eagle-eyed viewers of you may have already known this, but at the top of the screen, it does say our next match is up against Walsall, but, there's no way to hide that right if I'm going to give you a good overview of this screen. Just decided to do it one competition at a time instead. But yeah, we are playing Walsall in the next round, and that is going to be today's game. It's also worth noting that after we drew against Macclesfield at their ground, we did actually bring in about 30,000 in gate receipts. Even though we only took 4 away fans with us, we managed to get 30 grand out for it. We get half of the gate receipts, which seems a little bit sus, but I'm not going to complain at all. And although that replay wasn't anywhere near as big as the Macclesfield game was, attendance-wise, we only had 630 people down at Damson Park to watch us. It has actually set a new record high attendance for the club, 630 compared to the previous record of 473, and has also gave us a new record gate receipts, taking 20,000 over 14,000. It's obviously exclusively referring to home games here because we took a massive amount more than that last season when we played Sheffield Wednesday, but that is obviously a very nice record for us to break, especially considering the current financial situation, and that has brought us down to £59,000 in debt, although I don't think the additional tax has come out. That's gone up about 1,500, 2,000. We'll wait and see if the taxman comes for us. So the match against Walsall that we're going to do today is definitely going to have been our best ever chance to reach the second round of the FA Cup. I mean, they are doing pretty well in League 2, but they still are in League 2, whereas obviously Sheffield Wednesday were in League 1 and were doing pretty well there. Who is their star player? Liam Kinsella, right back, defensive mid, it's a centre mid. And, I mean, having 17 determination and 18 work rate is pretty incredible. But apart from that, I don't see him as being that mental. I would take him on our team in a heartbeat. If I compare him to who's our closest to a ball-winning midfielder, it's probably going to be Wadham, isn't it? It's probably not one of our strongest players. Yeah, that's not a great comparison, let's say. Our best midfielders are like Archer. Archer is a very different type of player. He's not really anything to do with defending at all. And he does have him beaten in a few areas, but that's sort of still me grasping at straws a little bit. Let's just also whack him up against Morehouse just to really see. I mean, that's actually a lot closer. As their ball-winning midfielder, he's as good as Morehouse going forward, but also is much better than any of our players defensively. So it's a little bit scary. But, he is their star man, so hopefully there is some worse players as well in there. Oh, God, this could be a nightmare. The board and fans are definitely expecting us to lose, so there's no real pressure on it. But yeah, let's get forward to the game. Oh, that's not what I wanted to see at all. I mean, it's at our ground and it's almost 2/3 full, but still 1,921 tickets. I was really hoping for close to a sellout at the very least. Although that's probably their entire allocation has been sold and none of our fans are showing up as usual. But I think this is how we're going to be lining up today. We've got a few new names here for a live com, obviously. We're going to have Jackson in goal, Hamblin, Gofford, Mitchell and Tunadre across the back. Jack Wadham in behind Archer and Morehouse in centre midfield. Agbenone on the left, Birchall on the right and Yeboah up front. Birchall is technically a left winger and is basically much better as a left winger. But I am looking to play a bit more with inside forwards this season. The last few seasons I've sort of maybe had an inside forward and a winger, but I've been going back and forth between the two systems and it seems to be working out relatively okay for us. And obviously we've got Yeboah up front. So Yeboah has not been brilliant this season. If we do look at a comparison for him compared to the rest of the squad, I mean, Callum Archer, who is our star midfielder, is apparently a much better striker than him. It's the sort of one position that I'm not super comfortable with how it's looking for us. So we've got like Yeboah is a 2.5-star advanced forward. I know stars don't mean all that much, but it's a good, you would expect that if they're too low on one person, they'd also be low on someone else. Whereas Adeyemo is also 2.5 stars. Backwell, I think, is also, he's 2 stars. We haven't really got any insane options. I could play Gaksha up front, and he isn't bad at all, but I just don't think he's going to do the job for us. So I'm gonna keep faith in Yeboah. I know we've only got a very small chance of going through this round, but I just don't want to concede a super early goal, and it messes up the entire plan. So let's just do this. Okay, right. Team talk, and this is quite an important team talk. They do seem to be playing. Oh, Liam Kinsella's playing at right back, actually, it looks like. So I was thinking that they're playing a very rotated team, but maybe not. The media's giving you a lot of credit lately. Everyone seems motivated. Defence, Trisha's made a difference. And yeah, you know what? We're just going to go with that. Right. Chelmsford Town are lining up in our standard 4-3-3. Whereas Walsall are in a 4-3-3. Okay, so a perfect matchup of styles. This is, I believe, the largest attendance we've had down at Damson Park. I keep going to say Pat Meadow. But this is the largest attendance in Chelmsford history, I believe, at the very least. All of our other big games have been away games. And we're starting off with Hamblin picking up a loose ball. Gets it to Archer. Morehouse, we've got a potential break here. Yeboah picks up the ball and he plays for Agbono. He's through on goal. And he's hit the post. What? That looked like it was easier to score than it was to miss. Oh my god. That's very annoying. So now, 32nd minute, there's a long ball going out to Knowles. He gets the ball into Wilkinson, and Gofford manages to get it away. But I'm trying to close him down. No, Jackson does an acrobatic punch away, I suppose, and Tanadre manages to get it out. Okay, now Knowles with another throw in. 35th minute, just pass it straight to Gofford. Callum Archer looks for a pass. And Yeboah does pick it up. He gets it out to Birchall. Can you just run at the defence a bit here? No. It's going to be a long ball over, maybe? No, Tanadre. Goes down the wing. Looks to play in Morehouse. Can Morehouse get a cross in here? He does, but it goes straight to the goalkeeper. That's depressing. Isaiah. There's a long goal kick. Mitchell manages to get it away. Can Tanadre get on the end of it? No, he gets beaten to it by Knowles. Seeing his name a lot this game. Shaw gets it over to Wilkinson, but it falls to Earing. Goffin manages to get it away. And now Morehouse looks to set up a counter-attack. Yeboah's through on goal. And he scored! Ephraim Yeboah, come on! Only his 4th goal of the season, but it's come at such an important time. Oh my god. This is exciting, at the very least. Oof. Lovely ball over there from Morehouse. Yeboah does what he does time and time again. Beats the offside trap. And just slots it through Isaiah's got legs in goal. Don't know what I was going to say there. Isaiah's goal in legs, maybe. Can we make it to half-time here? And it looks like we're going to, yes. So at half-time, we are 1-0 up against Walsall. Oh my god. This is almost, it's not really, it is quite a local derby. Walsall is very close to Birmingham. We've had a lot of shots on target so far. I'm happy. Everyone is delighted. I don't see any immediate need to mess with the team at all. You know, Agbono's only on a 6.1, but Birchall's only on a 6.3. But I feel like the two of those, you know, we haven't seen much of them, but what we have seen of them has been pretty good. I am a bit worried about the fact that Yeboah's on a yellow card, but I don't, you know, if we can get one more goal, I'll happily sub Yeboah off. But anyway, let's get back into the here and now, because they've got the ball inside their area. And Shaw looks to put a pass out, and it just gives it away straight to Birchall. Ball comes over to Yeboah, and he decides just not to go for it. Now, Isaiah with a long goal kick. Wilkinson gets on the end of it, but no, he doesn't. Gofford managed to get it to Hamblin. So what? No, cuts out a pass to Wadham. It's a very scrappy start to the second half, this. That's not a good... Tanadre just needs to bring the ball down a bit more often. He always headers it out, and it's just straight back to the winger when there's no real pressure on him whatsoever. Oh, we've got Kelly lining up. Oh, and it sneaks in off the inside of the post. Kyle Kelly. That looked like a very weak shot. I'm a little annoyed that's managed to find its way past Tommy Jackson in net. Ball comes across to him here. You can see he's lining up to shoot, but Jackson. I feel like you could have got to that, but at the same time, someone should have closed him down. Right, okay, now just don't let them get another one. Hamblin with a long ball out. Let's move that cursor off the screen. And it comes to Jack. What are you doing? Oh my God, it's from off the bar. What was Jackson doing there? The eccentricity has got the better of him, and he's just nearly thrown the game away. I've got Earring, Knowles. Still got the position in the middle. He's going to put it out to the wing. I think, yep, Kinsella's now coming forward. Their star man, just take him out. I don't care at this point. Oh, the ball's coming to Wilkinson, and he's just volleyed it straight into Jackson's hands, but it was offside anyway. Right. We're not doing well in this second half, and I'm going to make a change. Let's bring Gaksha on. Yeah, I think I'm going to Gaksha on. Is there anyone else that we need to take off of him? But like I said, Birchall's not playing brilliantly, but I'm going to swap these two over. And I'm going to play Birchall as just an attacking winger. That's what he's best at. Just go out there and play your game, son. And I think we're going to see how that goes for a bit. I'm tempted to switch off Positive, but we've been doing okay when we've had the ball. It's just been a bit too few and far between that those opportunities have came. Okay. I mean, I would also be completely fine with the replay. That is, the Bescott is a pretty nice stadium. But let's not count our chickens before they hatch. But Skerritt burning up the pitch decides to slow down as soon as I start talking. No one's putting a challenge in at all. No one is putting a challenge in, but luckily Jackson manages to collect it. I'd have been absolutely fuming if that had gone in when the guy started walking about 30 yards from goal. Now I've got Birchall. He's going to beat the defender to this. Birchall. Ooh, he toe pokes it. It doesn't. I thought that the defender was going to get a touch on it and knock it past the goalkeeper for a second. All right, for the last few minutes, I am going to switch back to balanced. Just look to maybe play this out because this is a brilliant result for us. We've managed to draw 1-1 with a League 2 side. I mean, honestly, I'm quite annoyed that we didn't manage to win. Looking at the XG, we have been massively the better team. I know they came into it a lot in the second half, but I am delighted with that result. We didn't get the result we wanted. I mean, we didn't get the one we wanted, but we got better than I expected coming into it. You should all be happy. If we create that many chances more often, we'll do well. Everyone is delighted, and that's good, because I assume we're probably going to be playing the next game at the start of the next episode. That was going to be the end of our match coverage, but on the end screen, any aspiring young goalkeeper out there should watch Tommy Jackson's performance today. He was superb, and they could learn a lot from his display. The guy charged out of his penalty area, chested the ball out to one of their strikers, and then got caught in no man's land, and luckily the striker missed. Well, not striker, it's probably a winger looking at the position of him. But that is one thing you should definitely not be trying to learn from. So, I mean, that is only our second game in November. And if I look at our finances screen, we have earned £29,000 this month. We're up to £26,000 in, well, we're down to £26,000 in debt. We're up to 26. That I don't really know what phrasing you'd use for that. Our debt has been reduced below the £27,000 mark. Let's say that instead. And we're going to have a replay coming up against Warsaw, and it's a few games away. So I am going to play through these next two games off camera, and I think we're going to do that Warsaw replay at the start of the next episode and maybe make it a double header. After spending, 3.5 months on this episode, it will be nice to have one that's relatively, 2 games pretty close together. And hopefully we can also have a second round draw in between those. That would be incredible. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I know there was a lot to catch up on today, and the episode might have been a little bit of a mess in places. I'm going to do my absolute best with it in the edit. I really hope that it's come out okay, because these episodes, the off-season episode where I'm signing lots of players, and the fact that I've got basically 3 full months of games here to play through, recap, and try and go over any key points that have happened along the way, it's definitely quite a challenge to turn that into a coherent storyline. Even if this episode was just sort of mostly recapping games, there's a few little bits here and there thrown in, and I'm obviously having to record them out of order to how you're seeing it, because some of it is live reaction and some of it is, oh yes, this is what happened 2.5 months ago. But either way, let's stop talking shop. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed, maybe leave a like or a comment down below. It really does help the channel a great deal, and it means a hell of a lot to me as well. We'll be back for our replay against Walsall in the first round of the FA Cup. So subscribe if you don't want to miss it, and I'll see you next time.